Welcome to Sleepy Cosmos Stories. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin, take a moment. Where are you right now? Are you in a quiet room, perhaps with dim lights? Maybe you're under soft blankets, feeling the gentle weight of the day finally lifting? Wherever you are, I hope you're comfortable, safe, and ready to drift. If you enjoy these calming journeys through the cosmos and would like to hear more, a like or subscribe helps this small channel continue its voyage. And to those already subscribed, thank you. Your presence means more than you know. Tonight, we are going on a different kind of journey, not to a destination, not to a galaxy or a star, but to the space between, the vast, quiet emptiness that separates one star from another, one galaxy from the next. Most of the universe is emptiness, silence, darkness, and there's something profoundly peaceful about that. We spend so much time focusing on the things, stars, planets, galaxies. But tonight, we're going to explore the nothing, the void, the silence. And we're going to discover that emptiness is not empty at all. It's full of time, of distance, of possibility. So take a deep breath, let it out slowly, and let's drift together through cosmic silence between the stars. What is empty space, the vacuum that isn't empty? When you look up at the night sky, what do you see? Stars scattered across the darkness, and between those stars, nothing, just black. But that blackness isn't absence, it's presence. Space, vast, silent, patient. The space between stars is called interstellar space, and it's mostly empty, but not completely. In every cubic meter of interstellar space, there are about 10 atoms, sometimes fewer, sometimes a few more. Mostly hydrogen, some helium, trace amounts of other elements. Compare that to Earth's atmosphere. Every cubic meter of air contains about 10 to the 25 molecules. That's 25 orders of magnitude difference. So interstellar space is incredibly empty, almost perfectly empty. But those few atoms, they're there, drifting, floating, alone. And they've been drifting for millions of years, billions perhaps, never colliding with anything, never interacting, just floating through the void. Can you imagine that kind of solitude? An atom alone in space, the nearest neighbor perhaps a kilometer away, or 10 kilometers, or 100, drifting silently for eons. There's something both terrifying and beautiful about that, isn't there? That level of isolation, that level of peace. No noise, no disturbance, no interruption. Just existence, pure and simple. And time, so much time. That atom has all the time in the universe, literally. It's not going anywhere. It's not in a hurry. It just is, floating, drifting, existing, in the silence between stars. The sound of nothing. Why space is silent. Here's something remarkable. Space has no sound. Not because it's quiet, but because sound cannot exist there. Sound is a wave, a vibration that travels through a medium. On Earth, sound travels through air. Molecules bump into each other, passing the vibration along. That's how you hear. Vibrations reach your eardrum moves, your brain interprets it as sound. But in space, there are no molecules to bump into each other. Or rather, there are so few that sound waves can't propagate. A sound wave needs molecules close together, colliding, transferring energy. In space, molecules are too far apart. A vibration has nowhere to go. So there is no sound, not quiet, not faint, just nothing. Absolute silence. If you could somehow survive in space, floating in a spacesuit, protected, and someone screamed right next to you, you wouldn't hear it. Even if they were touching your helmet, screaming, Nothing. Because the sound can't travel from their helmet to yours, no air to carry it. This is the silence of space, complete, perfect, eternal. And it's not unsettling, it's peaceful. Imagine a world without sound, without noise, without the constant hum of modern life. No traffic, no voices, no machines. Just silence. That's what space offers. A silence so complete, so profound that it's almost sacred. And in that silence, you can hear something else, not with your ears, but with your mind. The silence itself, the emptiness, the vastness. It speaks, not in words, but in presence. And it says, you are here, and that is enough. The loneliest place between galaxies. Interstellar space is empty, but there's something even emptier. Intergalactic space, the space between galaxies. If you could somehow travel beyond our Milky Way, past Andromeda, past the local group, out into the voids, the vast regions where galaxies are sparse, you would find yourself in the loneliest place in the universe. In intergalactic space, there are even fewer atoms, maybe 1 per cubic meter, maybe 1 per 10 cubic meters. And the distances, unimaginable. The nearest galaxy might be millions of light years away. In every direction, just darkness, emptiness, nothing. No stars, no galaxies, just the faint, distant glow of the cosmic microwave background. If you looked up, though up means nothing in space, you would see almost nothing. A few faint smudges of light, distant galaxies so far away they're barely visible. And that's it. No constellations, no Milky Way arching across the sky, no planets, just darkness and silence. You could drift there for billions of years and never encounter anything. No asteroid, no comet, no dust particle, just emptiness, stretching in all directions forever. And yet, even in that emptiness, you're not truly alone, because you're surrounded by time. Every moment you drift, time passes. The universe ages. Galaxies move, slowly, imperceptibly. And dark matter is there too, invisible, intangible, but present, holding the universe together with its gravity, even in the voids. You can't see it, can't touch it, but it's there, a silent presence, a hidden structure. Intergalactic space is not empty. It's full of time, of dark matter, of potential. And that's a comforting thought, isn't it? Even in the loneliest place, you're not truly alone. The universe is with you, around you, part of you. And the silence is not absence. It's presence. The universe quietly existing. Voyager's Journey, Humanity's Messenger in the Void. In 1977, 2 spacecraft left Earth, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Their mission, to explore the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And they succeeded. They sent back stunning images, revealed moons and rings, changed our understanding of the solar system. But their journey didn't end there. After passing Neptune, Voyager 1 kept going, out, away from the sun. And on August 25, 2012, something remarkable happened. Voyager 1 crossed a boundary, the heliopause. It left the sun's influence, entered interstellar space. For the first time, a human-made object was drifting between the stars. And it's still out there, right now, moving at about 17 kilometers per second, heading toward the constellation Ophiuchus, toward a star called AC plus 793888. It will take about 40,000 years to get there. 40,000 years. By then, human civilization may look completely different or may not exist at all. But Voyager will still be drifting, silently through the void. Its instruments have long since shut down, no power left, no communication with Earth. just a silent messenger carrying a golden record. On that record, sounds of Earth, music, greetings in 55 languages, images of life and humanity, a message to whoever might find it. But probably no one ever will. The chances of Voyager encountering another star system, let alone one with intelligent life, are infinitesimally small. It will likely drift forever through the silence between the stars. And there's something both sad and beautiful about that. A tiny piece of humanity drifting alone for eternity. A reminder that we were here, that we reached out, that we tried to say hello, even if no one ever hears it. Voyager is us, humanity, reaching out into the silence, not expecting an answer, but hoping. And in that hope there is beauty. We are not afraid of the silence. We embrace it. We send our voices into the void, knowing they may never be heard, but sending them anyway. Because that's what it means to be human, to reach, to explore, to connect, even in the vast silent emptiness of space. The speed of loneliness, how far light must travel. Light is fast, the fastest thing in the universe. 299,792 kilometers per second. At that speed, light can circle the Earth 7.5 times in 1 second. From Earth to the Moon, just over 1 second. From the Sun to Earth, 8 minutes. Light is so fast that in our everyday lives it seems instantaneous. But in space, even light is slow. The nearest star to our Sun is Proxima Centauri, about 4.24 light years away. That means light, traveling at its incredible speed, takes 4.24 years to cross that distance. 4.24 years of emptiness, of silence, of nothing. If you could somehow travel at the speed of light, which you can't, it would take you over 4 years to reach the nearest star. 4 years of drifting through the void, seeing nothing, passing nothing, just darkness and the distant glow of stars ahead and behind. And Proxima Centauri is close, cosmically speaking. Other stars are much farther, tens, hundreds, thousands of light years away. And galaxies, millions, billions. The Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large galactic neighbor, is 2.5 million light years away. Light that left Andromeda 2.5 million years ago is just reaching us now. That light has been traveling alone through the void for longer than our species has existed. And it will keep traveling. If it misses Earth, it will continue forever, into the darkness, into the silence, never stopping, never slowing, just traveling alone. There's something lonely to that, isn't there? Even light, the fastest, most energetic thing in the universe, spends most of its existence in solitude, drifting through emptiness. But perhaps that's not loneliness. Perhaps it's peace. Light doesn't need company. It doesn't need destination. It just travels, exists, moves. And in that simplicity there is grace. We could learn from light to move through our lives without needing constant validation, constant connection, to be comfortable with solitude, with silence, with the empty spaces, because those spaces where peace lives, in the quiet, in the void, in the space between. Dark matter's invisible presence, the skeleton of emptiness. We said earlier that space is mostly empty, but there's something else out there. Something we can't see. Dark matter. About 85% of all matter in the universe is dark matter. We don't know what it is. We can't see it. It doesn't emit light. It doesn't absorb light. It doesn't interact with normal matter in any way we can directly detect. But we know it's there because of its gravity. Galaxies spin faster than they should. Galaxy clusters are held together by more mass that we can see. The universe's structure, the cosmic web, only makes sense if there's dark matter. Lots of it. And it's everywhere, including the emptiness between stars, between galaxies. You can't see it, can't touch it, but it's there, filling the void, providing structure, holding everything together. Dark matter is like the invisible skeleton of the universe. You don't see the bones, but they support everything. And in the silence between stars, dark matter is present, silent, invisible, but real. It's a comforting thought in a way. Even in the emptiest places, there's something, a presence, a structure. You might feel alone, isolated, adrift, but you're not. There's always something holding you, supporting you, even if you can't see it. Dark matter reminds us, not everything that exists is visible. Not everything that matters can be seen. Some of the most important things are invisible. Love, kindness, connection, they're like dark matter. You can't see them, but they hold the universe together. And in the silence, in the emptiness, they're still there, supporting you, surrounding you, even when you can't see them. Now, we're going to explore something even more mysterious: time. In the emptiness of space, time behaves strangely. It stretches, it bends, it becomes something different than what we experience here on Earth. Out there, between the stars, a moment can last forever, and forever can pass in a moment. Time and space are woven together, inseparable, and in the void, that relationship becomes beautifully clear. Tonight we'll discover how distance is really just time in disguise, how the universe measures everything in light years, a unit that is both space and time simultaneously. We'll learn about time dilation, about how moving through space means moving through time differently, and we'll understand why, in the cosmic void, patience isn't just a virtue, it's the fundamental nature of existence. So breathe, slowly, deeply, and let's drift through time together. Light years, when distance becomes time. When we talk about space, we measure in light years. A light year is the distance light travels in 1 year, about 9.46 trillion kilometers, almost 6 trillion miles. It's an incomprehensibly large distance. But here's what's interesting. It's not just a measure of space, it's a measure of time. When we say Proxima Centauri is 4.24 light years away, we're saying it takes light 4.24 years to get here. Distance and time married together in a single measurement. And this tells us something profound. In space, distance is time. The farther something is, the longer it takes to reach, the longer it takes for information, for light to cross that gap. When you look at a star 100 light years away, you're not seeing it as it is now. You're seeing it as it was 100 years ago. The light took 100 years to reach you, to cross that emptiness. That star might not even exist anymore. It could have exploded, died, vanished. But you're still seeing its past, its ghost, its memory. Because distance is time. And in the void between stars, time is stretched, extended, dilated. A journey that takes light years becomes a journey that takes, well, years. And for anything moving slower than light, which is everything, the journey takes even longer. Decades, centuries, millennia. To cross the space between stars is to cross time itself. To drift through emptiness is to drift through eternity. And there's something beautiful about that, because it means the void is not just empty space, it's empty time. Moments suspended, hours stretched into eons, days that last forever. In the silence between stars, time itself is patient. It doesn't rush. It doesn't hurry. It simply is. And perhaps we could learn from that, to measure our lives not in frantic minutes, but in patient years, to understand that distance between people, between moments, between dreams, is really just time. And time, given patience, can be crossed. Slowly, gently, inevitably. Einstein's gift. Time is not absolute. Before Einstein, we thought time was universal, absolute. A second was a second, everywhere, for everyone. But Einstein showed us something different. Time is relative, flexible, bendable. It depends on how fast you're moving and how strong the gravity is around you. This is the theory of relativity, and it changes everything. Imagine two twins. One stays on Earth, the other travels into space, very fast, close to the speed of light. The traveling twin ages more slowly. Time for them passes differently. When they return to Earth, they're younger than their twin. Not by much if the journey is short, but measurably. This has been proven with atomic clocks on airplanes, with GPS satellites in orbit. Time is not absolute. It flows at different rates, depending on motion and gravity. And in the void of space, far from massive objects moving at constant speeds, time flows differently than on Earth. Not dramatically, but differently. For Voyager, drifting through interstellar space, time passes slightly differently than it does for us. Not enough to notice, but it's real. And for objects moving close to the speed of light, particles, photons, time slows dramatically. For a photon traveling at light speed, time doesn't pass at all. From the photon's perspective, its entire journey from a star to your eye is instantaneous, even if that journey takes millions of years from our perspective. The photon experiences no time. It's born and it arrives in the same moment. Isn't that remarkable? Time in the universe is not what we think it is. It's not a river flowing at constant speed. It's a landscape with hills and valleys, fast currents and still pools. And in the emptiness between stars, time is a still pool, slow, patient, eternal. Moments stretch, days extend, years become eons, and in that stretching, there is peace. Because when time slows, there's no rush, no urgency, no deadline, just existence, pure and simple, drifting through time as much as through space. And perhaps that's what we need, not faster time, but slower time. Time that allows us to breathe, to exist, to simply be. Time like the void, patient, gentle, eternal. The patience of photons, a journey of millions of years. Let's follow a photon on its journey. Born in a distant star, a massive blue giant, thousands of light years away. In the star's core, nuclear fusion releases energy, and that energy eventually becomes light, photons. Our photon is born, and it begins its journey. First, it must escape the star, and that's not easy. Inside the star, it's crowded, billions upon billions of particles, packed it tight. The photon can't travel far before hitting something, an electron, another photon, an atom. It bounces, changes direction, bounces again. For thousands of years, it wanders inside the star, a drunken walk, bouncing, 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 until finally it reaches the surface and escapes. Now it's free. It shoots out into space at the speed of light in a straight line, and it enters the void, the empty space between stars. For the photon, this journey is instantaneous. As we said, at light speed, time doesn't pass. But from our perspective, from the universe's perspective, the journey takes thousands of years. The photon travels, alone, through the darkness. It passes nothing, encounters nothing, just empty space. Light years and light years of it. For centuries it travels, then millennia, never slowing, never stopping, never interacting. Just moving through the silence, through the void. And finally, after traveling for, say, 5,000 years, it reaches Earth. It enters the atmosphere, travels through air, and lands on something. Maybe a telescope mirror, maybe a leaf, maybe your eye. And in that moment, its journey ends. 5,000 years from the perspective of the universe. But for the photon, no time at all. Instantaneous. It was born in a star and absorbed by your eye in the same moment. That's the mystery of time in the void. For the traveler, moving at light speed, no time passes. For the universe, watching from outside, eons pass. Both are true simultaneously. Time is not one thing, it's many things, depending on perspective. And in the space between stars, time is patient. It waits for as long as it takes. And the photon? It doesn't mind. It has all the time in the world. Or no time at all. Both are the same. Cosmic distances, when numbers lose meaning. Let's talk about distance. Real distance. Cosmic distance. The nearest star, 4.24 light years, about 40 trillion kilometers. That number is so large, it's meaningless to us. We can't conceptualize it. 40 trillion kilometers. What does that even mean? Let's try to understand it. If you could drive a car at highway speed, 100 kilometers per hour, to Proxima Centauri, it would take about 45 million years. 45 million years in a car, non-stop. Humans have only existed as a species for about 300,000 years. So you'd have to start driving long before humans existed, long before Neanderthals, long before most of our evolutionary ancestors. You'd drive through the entire evolution of humanity and still not arrive. That's the distance to the nearest star. And that's close, cosmically speaking. The Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years. At light speed, it takes 2.5 million years. At highway speed in a car, 27 billion years. Longer than the current age of the universe. You couldn't do it. The universe isn't old enough. And Andromeda is our neighbor in the local group of galaxies. Other galaxies are much farther, hundreds of millions of light years, billions. The most distant galaxies we've observed are over 13 billion light years away. Their light has been traveling toward us for 13 billion years, since the universe was young, since the first stars formed. That light has been drifting through emptiness for almost the entire age of the universe, and it's still traveling, still moving through the void. At these scales, distance stops being about space. It becomes about time. To say something is 13 billion light years away is to say that happened 13 billion years ago. You're not looking across space. You're looking back through time. The void is not just empty space. It's empty time. A gap, a pause, a silence that lasts for eons. And in that silence, there is patience. The universe is in no hurry. Distance doesn't intimidate it. Time doesn't worry it. It simply exists, vast, patient, eternal. And we, tiny, brief, fleeting, can learn from that patience. We don't need to rush. We don't need to arrive. Sometimes the journey is enough, the drifting, the floating, through time, through space, through the beautiful, silent void. The relativistic void, moving fast, time slows. Let's imagine a journey, a thought experiment. You have a spacecraft, and it can travel very fast, close to the speed of light. You decide to visit Proxima Centauri, 4.24 light-years away. At light speed, the journey takes 4.24 years from Earth's perspective. But for you on the spacecraft, it takes less, because time dilation. At high speeds, time slows down for the traveler. Let's say you travel at 99% the speed of light. From Earth's perspective, your journey takes about 4.3 years, but for you on the ship, it takes about 7 months. 7 months for you, 4.3 years for Earth. Both are correct. Time is relative. Now let's say you travel even faster, 99.99% the speed of light. For Earth, 4.24 years. For you, about 2 months. Even faster, 99.99% the speed of light. For Earth, still 4.24 years. For you, less than a week. At speeds approaching light speed, time for you nearly stops. You could, theoretically, travel across the galaxy in your lifetime, even though, from Earth's perspective, thousands or millions of years pass. You age normally, experience time normally, but for the universe, you're moving through time slowly, almost frozen. You're drifting through time as much as through space. And in the void, this becomes clear. Space and time are not separate. They're space-time, woven together. Moving through space is moving through time, and the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. The void is not just a place, it's a when, and drifting through it means drifting through eternity, slowly, patiently, gracefully. Eternal moments, when time feels infinite. Have you ever had a moment that felt eternal? A moment of peace, or joy, or even sadness? A moment that stretched, that seemed to last forever? Time is subjective, we all know this. A happy hour passes quickly, a boring hour drags on. But in the void, this subjectivity becomes extreme. For light, no time passes ever, an eternal moment. For a fast-moving traveler, time slows, moments stretch. For a distant observer, eons pass, all simultaneously, all true. Time in the void is whatever you experience it to be, and perhaps that's the deepest truth. Time is not something external. It's not a force acting on you. It's something you experience. Something you create. In the void alone, with no reference points, time becomes what you make of it. A moment can be infinite if you let it, or a lifetime can pass in a blink if you rush through it. The void teaches us time is not our enemy. It's not rushing past us. It's with us, part of us, created by us. And we can choose how we experience it. We can rush, fill every moment with activity, anxiety, urgency. Or we can drift, let moments stretch, breathe, exist. Like the void, patient, timeless, eternal. Rogue planets, worlds without suns. Imagine a planet, not so different from Earth perhaps, rocky, with mountains and valleys, maybe even an atmosphere once. But this planet orbits no star. It was born in a solar system, formed from the same disk of gas and dust as its sibling planets. But something happened, a gravitational interaction, a close encounter with another planet or a passing star. And this planet was flung out, ejected, cast into the darkness, its orbit broken, its trajectory changed, no longer bound to its sun. Now it drifts, alone, through interstellar space. No sunlight, no warmth from a nearby star, just the cold of space, nearly absolute zero. This is a rogue planet, and the universe is full of them. Astronomers estimate there could be billions of rogue planets in our galaxy alone, perhaps more rogue planets than stars. They're hard to detect. They don't shine. They don't reflect light. There's no nearby star to reflect. They just dark, silent, invisible. We only find them when they pass in front of a distant star. Their gravity bends the starlight, a technique called gravitational microlensing. For a brief moment, we see the evidence, a distortion, a flicker, and then they're gone again, back into darkness. These planets drift for millions of years, billions, never approaching another star, never feeling warmth again, just cold, darkness, solitude. But here's something beautiful. They might not be entirely dead. If a rogue planet is large enough, its core might still be warm. Radioactive decay generates heat. Deep below the frozen surface, there could be liquid water, subsurface oceans, kept warm not by a sun, but by the planet's own internal heat. And in those oceans, perhaps life. Microbes, simple organisms living in total darkness, never knowing a sun exists. Their entire world a dark ocean, heated from below, enclosed in ice. It sounds lonely, but maybe it's peaceful. A world untouched by the chaos of a solar system, no asteroid impacts from nearby debris, no stellar flares, no solar wind, just stillness, silence, isolation. And in that isolation, life might quietly persist, adapting, evolving, existing, in the dark, in the cold, in the void. Rogue planets remind us you don't need a sun to exist. You don't need to orbit something, to be tied to something. You can drift, alone, and still be complete, still be whole, still be beautiful.
Orphaned stars, exiled from their galaxies. Stars, too, can be cast out. Most stars live in galaxies, bound by gravity, orbiting the galactic center along with billions of other stars. But sometimes a star is flung out, ejected. How? Usually by a close encounter with a supermassive black hole. If a binary star system, two stars orbiting each other, passes too close to a galactic black hole, one star can be captured and the other flung outward. At incredible speed, thousands of kilometers per second, fast enough to escape the galaxy's gravity. And that star becomes an exile, an orphan, a wanderer. It shoots out into intergalactic space, into the voids between galaxies. And there it drifts, alone, far from any other star, far from the galaxy it once called home. These are called hypervelocity stars, and we've found several of them, traveling at speeds so high they'll never return. They're gone forever. Imagine being that star. You spend billions of years in a galaxy, surrounded by other stars, part of a community, a structure. And then, in an instant, you're cast out. You drift into the darkness, the emptiness, the void. No more neighbors, no more galactic arms, no more spiral structure, just you and a distant fading glow of the galaxy behind you, getting smaller, dimmer, until it's just another faint smudge of light. And ahead, nothing, just darkness, just emptiness. For billions of years, you drift, alone, never encountering another star, never joining another galaxy, just traveling through the void forever. It's the ultimate solitude, but perhaps it's also freedom, no longer bound by the galaxy's gravity, no longer part of the crowd. You're free to drift, to explore, to be. Alone, yes, but also independent, unbound, liberated. And maybe that's not loneliness. Maybe that's peace. The peace of self-sufficiency, of not needing anything external, just existing, shining, drifting,
through the eternal silence. Brown dwarfs, the stars that never were. Not every star makes it. When a cloud of gas collapses, it usually forms a star. The core heats up, pressure builds, nuclear fusion ignites, and a star is born. But sometimes there isn't quite enough mass. The cloud collapses, it forms an object, but it's too small. The core never gets hot enough for sustained fusion. What you get is a brown dwarf. Not quite a star, not quite a planet, something in between. Brown dwarfs glow, but faintly, from leftover heat from their formation. Over billions of years, they cool, dim, fade. Eventually, they become almost invisible, cold, dark, silent. And many of them drift alone through interstellar space, never part of a solar system, never orbiting anything, just floating in the void. Brown dwarfs are the universe's might-have-beens. They almost became stars, but didn't. They fell just short. And now they drift, cooling, fading, alone. There's a melancholy to that, isn't there? To almost achieve something, to come close but not quite make it, and then to spend eternity drifting through darkness, cooling, fading into obscurity. But maybe that's not failure. Maybe that's just a different path. Brown dwarfs don't need to be stars. They don't need to shine brightly. They exist in their own way, on their own terms, quietly, dimly, but existing nonetheless. And perhaps there's wisdom in that. You don't have to be the brightest, the most successful, the most visible. You can be a brown dwarf, glowing softly in your own way, drifting through life, not bound by expectations, not trying to be something you're not, just being, existing in the quiet darkness. And that's enough, more than enough. Comets, the long journey home. Comets are wanderers by nature. Most comets come from the outer reaches of the solar system, the Oort cloud, a vast spherical shell of icy objects surrounding the sun at a distance of about 1 light year. Yes, 1 light year. That's how far the sun's influence extends. In the Oort cloud, billions of comets drift slowly in the cold, in the dark. They orbit the sun, but so slowly, so distantly, that one orbit takes millions of years, and most of them never leave. They just drift, frozen, silent. But occasionally, something disturbs them. A passing star, a gravitational nudge, and a comet's orbit changes. It begins to fall, inward, toward the sun. And this journey can take thousands of years, tens of thousands. The comet drifts through the emptiness, slowly accelerating. For most of its journey, it's frozen, inactive, just a ball of ice and rock. But as it approaches the sun, warmth arrives for the first time in millennia. The ice begins to sublimate, gas forms, a coma, a tail, and the comet becomes visible, beautiful, glowing. For a brief time, weeks, months, it's spectacular. Humans see it, marvel at it, call it an omen, a wonder. And then it swings around the sun and begins its long journey back, out into the cold, into the darkness. The tail fades, the coma dissipates, the comet freezes again, and it drifts for thousands of years, tens of thousands, back to the Oort cloud, where it will wait, in silence, in darkness, until perhaps it's disturbed again and makes another journey, millions of years later. Comets are patient travelers. They spend most of their existence in darkness, in silence, alone. But they don't mind. They have time, endless time. And when they do approach the sun, they shine, briefly, beautifully, and then return to the quiet. There's a lesson in comets. You don't have to shine all the time. You don't have to be visible, active, productive. Most of life can be spent in quiet, in rest, in the darkness. And that's okay. That's natural. And when the time comes, when warmth arrives, you shine, brilliantly, briefly, and then return to the quiet, without regret, without longing, just accepting the cycle, the rhythm, the dance between light and dark, between activity and rest, between visibility and silence. That's the way of comets, and perhaps the way of wisdom.
Interstellar asteroids, visitors from other stars. In 2017, something unusual entered our solar system. An object, traveling fast, on a trajectory that didn't originate from the sun. It came from outside, from interstellar space. Astronomers named it Oumuamua, Hawaiian for scout or messenger. It was the first confirmed interstellar object ever detected passing through our solar system, and it was strange. Elongated, cigar-shaped, or perhaps flat like a pancake, we're still not sure. It tumbled as it moved, reflecting sunlight in unusual patterns, and it accelerated slightly, as if propelled by something, outgassing perhaps, or something else. For a few weeks we observed it, studied it, tried to understand it, and then it left, flew past the sun and headed back out into interstellar space. Gone, continuing its journey through the void. Where did it come from? We don't know. Somewhere. Another star system, ejected perhaps by a planetary formation process, or maybe it's been drifting for millions of years between stars, alone. A wanderer, a nomad, visiting solar systems, never staying, just passing through. Oumuamua traveled through our solar system for a few months, but it's been drifting through space for far longer, perhaps millions of years, perhaps billions, alone, in the silence, in the darkness, just traveling. No destination, no purpose, just motion. And there's a beauty to that, isn't it? A rock, a piece of debris from some ancient star system, drifting, seeing things no one will ever see, visiting places no one will ever visit, completely alone, completely free. Oumuamua doesn't know where it's going. It doesn't care. It just drifts through the void, through time, through silence. And perhaps we're all a bit like Oumuamua, drifting through life, not entirely sure where we came from, not entirely sure where we're going, just moving, experiencing, existing. And that's okay. That's enough. You don't need a destination. You don't need a purpose. Just drift, just be, just exist. Like Oumuamua, like all the wanderers, through the beautiful, silent void. The nomad's wisdom. Freedom in solitude. All of these wanderers, rogue planets, orphaned stars, brown dwarfs, comets, asteroids, share something. They're untethered, unbound, free. They don't orbit anything. They're not part of a system. They don't belong. And yet they exist. They persist. They travel. There's a kind of wisdom in that. In our lives, we often feel we need to belong, to be part of something, to orbit something, a job, a relationship, a community. And belonging is beautiful. Connection is important. But sometimes we need to drift, to wander, to be untethered. Not forever, but for a while. To find ourselves in the solitude, in the silence, in the void. The wanderers teach us you can be alone and still be whole. You can be unbound and still exist, still have value, still be beautiful. Rogue planets glow from within. They don't need a sun. Orphaned stars shine by themselves. They don't need a galaxy. Brown dwarfs exist quietly. They don't need to be bright. Comets turn to darkness without regret. They don't need constant visibility. And interstellar visitors drift without purpose. They don't need a destination. They just are. And perhaps that's the deepest wisdom. Being is enough. Existing is enough. You don't need to be part of something to matter. You don't need to be bound to something to be whole. You can drift. You can wander. You can exist in the void. And that's beautiful. That's complete. That's freedom. The fear of emptiness. Why we avoid the void. Humans don't like emptiness.
We fill every silence with noise, every empty moment with activity, every quiet space with sound. We check our phones, turn on the TV, listen to music, talk, do, consume, constantly, endlessly. Why? Because emptiness feels uncomfortable. Silence feels threatening. Solitude feels lonely. When there's nothing external to focus on, we're left with ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our fears, and that can be overwhelming. So we avoid it. We fill the void with anything, everything. But here's what the cosmos teaches us. The void is not empty, and silence is not absence. When you stop filling every moment, something remarkable happens. You begin to notice what's actually there. The subtle sounds, the gentle sensations, the quiet thoughts. Things that were always present, but drowned out by noise. The void is not nothing. It's the space where everything else can be heard. Imagine standing in a crowded, noisy room, everyone talking, music playing, chaos. You can't hear anything clearly. It's overwhelming, exhausting. Now imagine stepping outside into a quiet garden at night. At first, it feels too quiet, almost eerie. But then you start to hear the wind, the rustling of leaves, distant crickets, your own breathing. The garden isn't silent. It's full of sound, but subtle sound, peaceful sound. The void is like that garden. It's not absence, it's subtlety. And when you stop fearing it, when you let yourself rest in it, something beautiful happens. You find peace. Not the artificial peace of distraction, but real peace, deep peace. The peace of simply being without needing anything, without doing anything, just existing in the quiet, in the emptiness. That's the gift of the void. What astronauts learn, the overview effect. Astronauts who've been to space often describe a profound experience. They look down at Earth from orbit, a small blue marble floating in the blackness, and they feel something shift, a change in perspective, a profound realization. This is called the overview effect. From space, the boundaries between countries disappear, the conflicts seem trivial, the divisions arbitrary. All they see is one planet, one home, fragile, beautiful, alone in the void. And they realize we're all in this together, on this tiny rock surrounded by infinite emptiness. But it's not a fearful realization. It's comforting, because the void, the darkness, the silence, the emptiness is not threatening. It's peaceful, it's calming, it's home. Astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who walked on the moon, described it this way. You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. The void gives you perspective. It shows you what matters and what doesn't. When you're floating in silence, surrounded by emptiness, the noise of life fades. The arguments, the worries, the fears, the ambitions, all of it seems small, distant, unimportant. What remains is simple, existence, breath, being. And in that simplicity, there is peace. Astronauts often return changed, quieter, more contemplative, more at peace, because they've experienced the void and learned its secret, that emptiness is not scary, it's liberating. It frees you from the noise, from the chaos, from the constant pressure, and lets you just be. You don't have to go to space to experience this. You just have to find your own void, a quiet room, a peaceful night, a moment of stillness, and let the emptiness hold you. Meditation and the void. Finding stillness within. Meditation is, in many ways, creating a void. Not emptying your mind, that's impossible. Thoughts will come. But creating space, silence, stillness. You sit, you breathe, you let thoughts arise and pass, without grasping, without pushing away, just observing. And in that observation, there's space, emptiness, peace, the void internalized. Meditators often describe a state called emptiness or spaciousness, not a nothingness, but an openness, a vastness within, like the cosmic void, but inside you. And in that internal void, there's rest, because you're not constantly reacting, not constantly doing, not constantly being pulled in different directions. You're just here, present, still, like an object drifting in space, not trying to go anywhere, just floating. And in that floating, there's freedom. The void teaches meditation, and meditation teaches the void. Both show you emptiness is not lack, it's potential, it's possibility. An empty space can be filled with anything or nothing. It's open, free. Your mind, when spacious, is the same, not cluttered, not crowded, just open. And in that openness, peace arises, naturally, effortlessly. You don't have to create peace, you just have to allow it by creating space, by embracing the void within. Some spiritual traditions speak of the void as the ultimate truth, the source of everything. In Buddhism, it's called shunyata, emptiness, but not a nihilistic emptiness, a pregnant emptiness, full of potential. In Taoism, it's the wu, the void from which all things emerge. In many mystical traditions, the void is not the end, it's the beginning, the place where creation happens, where everything is possible. Because in emptiness, there are no limits, no boundaries, no restrictions, just pure potential, pure being. And you can access this right now by closing your eyes, breathing, and letting the internal noise fade, creating space, silence, stillness, your own personal void, and resting there peacefully, completely. The sound of silence, what you hear when nothing is there. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's a different kind of sound. When you remove external noise, you begin to hear other things. Your heartbeat, your breath, the subtle ringing in your ears, tinnitus perhaps, or just the nervous system's background hum. These sounds are always there, but usually drowned out. In the void, they become audible. And at first, this can be unsettling. I thought it would be silent, but I hear things. Yes, because true silence, absolute silence, is rare, perhaps impossible. Even in the deepest, quietest places on earth, there's sound, subtle sound, internal sound. And in space, space is silent. But if you were there, you'd still hear yourself, your body, your breath, your heartbeat. The silence of space is external, not internal. And that's a profound realization. You carry sound with you, always. Your existence creates sound, but it's quiet sound, gentle sound, not overwhelming. And when you learn to listen to it, to be with it, something shifts. You realize I am never truly in silence because I am sound. I am vibration. I am alive. And that's comforting. Even in the deepest void, you're not absent, you're present. Your breath is a reminder. Your heartbeat is a companion. You're not alone, you're with yourself. And perhaps that's the deepest truth of the void. It's not empty, it's you. When everything else falls away, what remains is you, your breath, your heartbeat, your awareness. And that's enough, more than enough. The void doesn't take you away, it brings you home, to yourself. Solitude versus loneliness. The difference matters. Solitude and loneliness are not the same. Loneliness is painful. It's feeling isolated, disconnected, wanting connection, but not having it. Solitude is peaceful. It's choosing to be alone, finding comfort in your own presence. The void can teach us the difference. In space, the wanderers are alone, completely, utterly. But are they lonely? We project loneliness onto them. That poor rogue planet, all alone. How sad. But maybe the planet doesn't feel that way. Maybe it's simply existing, peacefully, without need. Loneliness requires a sense of lack. I should have company, but I don't. But if you don't need company, if you're content as you are, then there's no loneliness, just solitude, just peace. Many spiritual seekers deliberately embrace solitude. Hermits, monks, meditators. They retreat into silence, into emptiness, not because they're fleeing, but because they're seeking. Seeking peace, seeking clarity, seeking themselves. And in the solitude, they find it. Because when you're alone, truly alone, you have to face yourself, your thoughts, your fears, your truths. There's no distraction, no escape, just you. And at first, that's hard, uncomfortable, even frightening. But if you stay with it, if you don't run, something shifts. You realize, I'm okay, even alone, even in silence, I'm okay. And that realization is powerful, liberating, because it means you don't need anything external to be at peace. You have everything you need within you. The void teaches self-sufficiency, not in a cold, isolating way, but in a warm, comforting way. You are complete as you are, alone or with others. And when you know that, when you feel that, loneliness dissolves. Because loneliness is fear, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. But solitude is confidence, knowing you're enough, knowing you're complete. And the void, the cosmic void, the internal void, is where that confidence is born.
The comfort of nothingness, why emptiness feels like home. There's a reason why sleep is peaceful. In sleep, there's nothing. No thoughts, no worries, no awareness. Just rest, pure rest. And we crave it, we need it. 8 hours a night, ideally, because nothing is restorative. In waking life, we're constantly processing, constantly doing, constantly being, and it's exhausting. But in sleep, we stop. We return to nothing, and we're restored. The void is like that. It's not death, it's rest. A place where you can stop doing, stop trying, stop being anything in particular. Just exist, simply, completely. And in that simplicity, there's comfort. Because you don't have to perform, you don't have to achieve, you don't have to be impressive. You just are. And being is enough. The cosmic void is the universe's rest, the space between action, the pause between breaths. And we need those pauses, desperately. Our culture glorifies constant activity, productivity, achievement. But we're burning out, exhausting ourselves, because we've forgotten the value of nothing, of emptiness, of rest. The void reminds us, nothingness is not failure, it's restoration. Emptiness is not lack, it's potential. Silence is not absence, it's presence. And rest, true rest, is found in the void. Not in distractions, not in entertainment, not in busyness, but in stillness, in silence, in nothing. That's where you recharge, where you restore, where you come home to yourself. The void is not a place to fear, it's a place to return to. Again and again, whenever you need rest, whenever you need peace, it's always there, waiting, open, welcoming, like sleep, like home. The universe is expanding. Right now, in this moment. Every second, space itself is stretching. Galaxies are moving farther apart, not because they're traveling through space, but because space is growing between them. It's like dots on a balloon. As the balloon inflates, the dots move apart, not because they're moving, but because the surface is expanding. The universe is that balloon, and the galaxies are the dots, and the expansion is accelerating. Dark energy, that mysterious force we don't understand, is pushing space apart faster and faster. Right now, galaxies in our local group are bound together, the Milky Way and Andromeda, held by gravity. But galaxies outside our group,
They're moving away, receding. And the farther away they are, the faster they recede. Eventually, billions of years from now, galaxies will be so far apart that their light can't reach us. They'll cross beyond our cosmic horizon, disappear from view, and we'll be alone, our local group in an expanding darkness. Other galaxies will experience the same, each one isolated in its own bubble of space. The voids between galaxies will grow, larger and larger, until most of space is void, empty, dark. And the small pockets of galaxies, like islands in an infinite ocean, will drift, alone. The universe is becoming more empty, more silent, more void. And this process will continue for trillions of years, until the voids dominate, until emptiness is the norm. And matter, galaxies, stars, planets, becomes the rare exception, scattered, isolated, drifting in an ever-expanding darkness. This is the future, not a dramatic end, but a slow fading, a gentle dispersal. The universe returning to emptiness, to silence, to the void. And in that return, there is a kind of peace, a completion. Everything came from the void, and everything returns to it, not as destruction, but as homecoming. The last stars, when light fades forever. Stars are born, and stars die. This has been happening for 13 billion years. But star formation is slowing down. New stars form from gas clouds, but the universe is running out of gas. More and more matter is locked in stars, or planets, or black holes. Less and less is available to form new stars. Eventually, about 100 trillion years from now, the last star will be born, a small, dim red dwarf, burning slowly, patiently. And it will shine for trillions of years more, long after all the larger stars have died, long after the sun has become a cold white dwarf. This red dwarf will be the last light, the final ember. And eventually, it too will exhaust its fuel and fade. And when it does, the universe will go dark. No more stars, no more natural light. Just the faint glow of cooling white dwarfs and the radiation from black holes. But even those will fade over time, over unimaginable time. White dwarfs will cool, become black dwarfs, invisible, silent. Black holes will evaporate through Hawking radiation, slowly, so slowly. A stellar mass black hole takes about 10 to the 67th years to evaporate. A supermassive black hole? 10 to the 100 years, a Google years. Numbers that are almost meaningless. But eventually it happens. The black holes evaporate, slowly releasing their mass as radiation, particles, light, until they're gone completely. And when the last black hole evaporates, the universe will be truly empty. No stars, no planets, no black holes. Just particles, photons, neutrinos, drifting through an infinite void. Spread so thin that they never interact, never encounter anything. Just drifting, forever, in the dark, in the cold, in the silence. This is called the heat death of the universe, the final state. Maximum entropy, maximum disorder, maximum emptiness. And it sounds bleak, depressing, nihilistic. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just rest. The universe, after eons of activity, finally resting, returning to stillness, to silence, to the peace it knew before the Big Bang, before anything existed. Not death, but sleep, deep, eternal sleep. The temperature of nothing, approaching absolute zero. As the universe expands, it cools. In the early universe, moments after the Big Bang, everything was incredibly hot, trillions of degrees. But as space expanded, the heat spread out, diluted. The temperature dropped, and kept dropping. Today, the average temperature of space is about 2.7 Kelvin, just above absolute zero. That's the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, still cooling. And it will continue to cool as the universe expands. Eventually, in the distant future, the CMB will fade, red shift away, become undetectable. And the temperature of the universe will approach absolute zero, not quite reaching it, but getting infinitely close. In this cold, dark future, nothing moves fast. Everything is slow, lethargic. Particles drift, barely vibrating, almost still. Even quantum jitters slow down, approach their minimum. The universe becomes still, quiet, cold. And in that stillness, there is a kind of peace, a final rest. All the heat, all the energy from the Big Bang has been spread out, diluted, dissipated, until there's barely any left, just a faint warmth, a memory of the fire that once burned. And then even that fades into coldness, into silence. The universe cooling down like a dying fire, embers glowing, then dimming, then cold. And in that coldness, there's no suffering, no struggle, no striving, just stillness, just peace, just rest. The heat death is not violent, it's gentle, patient, inevitable. The universe slowly falling asleep after trillions upon trillions of years of wakefulness, returning to the dream from which it came. Entropy, the one-way journey to silence. The second law of thermodynamics says, entropy always increases. Entropy is disorder, randomness, spread outness, and it always, always increases in a closed system. The universe is a closed system, the biggest one there is. So entropy in the universe always increases, always. What does this mean? Hot things cool down, concentrated energy spreads out, order becomes disorder. A star burns, it releases energy. That energy spreads into space, warms the void slightly. But it can never be recollected, can never reform the star. Entropy has increased irreversibly. Every process in the universe increases entropy, every action, every moment. And this leads inevitably to the heat death, a state of maximum entropy, where everything is evenly spread out, where no energy gradients exist. In such a state, nothing can happen, no work can be done, no processes can occur. Because processes require differences, hot and cold, high and low, concentrated and diffuse. But in maximum entropy, everything is the same, everywhere, uniform, featureless, still. And that's the final state, the end of the story. Not a dramatic end, not an explosion or a collapse, just stillness, silence, uniformity. The universe having exhausted all its differences, all its gradients, all its possibilities, resting in perfect equilibrium, forever. This is the entropic death, the silent end. And it's not tragic, it's just complete. The story told, the song sung, the dance finished. And now rest, eternal rest, in the silence, in the dark, in the cold. The universe finally at peace.
Boltzmann brains, strange thoughts in the void. Here's a strange idea, a thought experiment. In the far future, when the universe is mostly empty, mostly still, entropy is very high. But entropy fluctuates randomly, tiny quantum fluctuations. Most of the time, nothing happens. The void remains void. But occasionally, very, very occasionally, a fluctuation occurs, a random arrangement of particles. And sometimes that arrangement might form something complex, something organized, like a star or a planet, or a brain. A single disembodied brain floating in the void, with memories, thoughts, consciousness. A Boltzmann brain. It exists for a moment, thinks, experiences, and then dissipates, dissolves back into randomness. This sounds absurd, but it's mathematically possible in an infinite, eternal universe. Given enough time, truly infinite time, anything that can happen will happen, including spontaneous brains with memories, believing they have pasts, lives, histories. But they don't. They're just random fluctuations, lasting a moment, then gone. Are you a Boltzmann brain? Probably not. The probability is astronomically low. But in the deep future, in the emptiness, these strange ghosts might appear, briefly, rarely. Consciousness flickering in the void, for an instant, then darkness. It's a strange, unsettling idea, but also oddly poetic. Even in the ultimate emptiness, even in the final silence, consciousness might still spark, briefly, randomly. The universe dreaming in its sleep. Fleeting thoughts, momentary awareness, then nothing. Perhaps we're all like that. Brief fluctuations, moments of order in a sea of entropy. We arise, we exist, we think, we feel. And then we return to the void, to the silence, to the randomness. And that's okay. That's the nature of things. Temporary order, temporary consciousness, temporary existence. And then rest in the eternal, silent void.
Is the heat death sad, or is it peace? The heat death sounds depressing, the end of everything. Eternal darkness, eternal cold, eternal silence. But maybe it's not sad. Maybe it's peaceful. Think about it. After trillions upon trillions of years, the universe finally rests. No more struggle, no more entropy fighting against itself. No more stars burning, dying, exploding. Just stillness, peace, silence. Isn't that what we all want, eventually? To rest? To be at peace? The universe has been active for so long, creating, destroying, burning, exploding, expanding. And after all that, it deserves rest, eternal rest. The heat death is not punishment, it's retirement. The universe, after a long, productive life, finally lying down to sleep. And in that sleep, there's no suffering, no pain, no fear. Just silence, just darkness, just peace. We fear death because we associate it with loss, with ending, with nothingness. But perhaps death, the heat death of the universe, is not nothingness, it's fullness, full of silence, full of stillness, full of peace. The universe complete, finished, at rest. And maybe that's the best possible ending, not dramatic, not violent, just quiet. A gentle fading, a slow return to the void, to the silence, to the peace. The universe came from silence, and it returns to silence. And in that return, the circle is complete. Not broken, not tragic, just complete. Everything that was meant to happen, happened. And now, rest. Deep, eternal, peaceful rest. In the void, in the darkness, in the silence. And perhaps after an eternity of rest, another fluctuation, another Big Bang, another universe. Or perhaps not. Perhaps just silence, forever. And both are okay. Both are peaceful. Both are complete. The heat death is not the end. It's the return, to the beginning, to the void, to the silence from all things come, and to which all things return.
The void within. You contain emptiness. Here's a remarkable fact. You are mostly empty space. Not metaphorically, literally. Atoms are mostly empty. The nucleus is tiny. The electrons orbit far away. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a marble at the center, and the electrons, tiny dots orbiting in the stands. Everything in between, empty space. And you're made of atoms, trillions of them, which means you're made mostly of emptiness, of void. Over 99.9% of your volume is empty space. You're more void than matter, more emptiness than substance. And yet you feel solid, real, present. Because emptiness isn't absence, it's presence. The space between your atoms is full of forces, electromagnetic fields, quantum fluctuations, potential. It's alive, dynamic, real. You are empty space, held together by forces, organized by patterns, made conscious by complexity. You are the void, aware of itself. And that's profound, because it means the cosmic void we've been exploring isn't separate from you. It's you. The silence between stars,
It's the silence between your thoughts. The emptiness of space, it's the spaciousness of your awareness. The slow drift of wanderers, it's how you move through life when you stop forcing. The void is not out there, it's in here, within you, as you. And when you realize this, something shifts. You stop fearing emptiness because you are emptiness. You stop avoiding silence because you are silence. You stop resisting the drift because drifting is your nature. The void within is vast, spacious, peaceful. And when you rest in it, you come home to yourself, to silence, to peace.
Bringing the void home. Practical silence. So, how do you bring the void into your life, into your days, into your moments? Here are some ways. Gentle, practical, accessible. Create pockets of silence. You don't need to live in isolation or meditate for hours. Just create small pockets of silence in your day. A few minutes in the morning, before the noise begins. A quiet walk, without music, without podcasts, just silence. A moment before bed, lying in darkness, breathing, existing. These pockets are your personal void, your refuge, your home. Visit them often. Let yourself drift. Not everything needs to be planned, controlled, directed. Sometimes just drift. See where life takes you. Take a walk without a destination. Let conversation flow without steering it. Let thoughts come and go without grasping. Drift, like a rogue planet, like Voyager, like a photon through space. Trust that the drift will take you where you need to go. Or nowhere, and that's okay too. Embrace boredom. Boredom is emptiness, and we've learned emptiness is good. When you're bored, you're in the void, and that's uncomfortable at first. But if you stay with it, if you don't immediately fill it, something shifts. Creativity arises, insight emerges, peace settles. Boredom is not the enemy, it's the doorway to the void, to yourself. Let yourself be bored, occasionally, without guilt, without rushing to fill it. Practice spacious awareness. Throughout your day, notice the space between sounds, the pause between breaths, the gap between thoughts. That space is the void, and it's always there. Most of the time we focus on the things, the sounds, the breaths, the thoughts. But the space is just as real, just as important. And when you notice it, rest in it, you find peace. Because the space is you, the awareness, the consciousness, the void within. Honor endings. Don't rush past endings. Don't avoid them. Don't distract from them. Honor them. Sit with them. Feel them. The end of a day, the end of a relationship, the end of a chapter. Each ending is a return to silence, to stillness, to the void. And when you honor it, it becomes peaceful, not painful. A completion, not a loss. The universe will end one day, in silence, in darkness, in peace. And so will you. And that's okay. That's beautiful. Because endings are just the universe coming home, to the silence from which it came. The gift of this journey, what you've learned. You've been on a long journey tonight, through silence, through emptiness, through time. And you've learned things. Maybe not consciously, but deeply. You've learned that emptiness is not absence, it's presence. That silence is not void, it's fullness. That solitude is not loneliness, it's peace. That drifting is not aimlessness, it's trust. That endings are not sad, they're complete. And most importantly, you've learned that the void is not something to fear. It's something to embrace,
to rest in, to come home to. Because the void is you, and you are the void. Not empty in a nihilistic sense, but spacious, open, free. Like the cosmic void, like the silence between stars. Vast, patient, peaceful. And when you rest in that vastness, that patience, that peace, you're home, not in a place, but in a state of being. Quiet, still, present, drifting, gently, through life, through time, through the beautiful, silent void.
And now it's time. Time to let go. Completely. You've drifted through space, through time, through silence, through emptiness. And now you drift into sleep. Close your eyes if they're not already closed. Feel your body. Heavy. So heavy. Sinking into the softness beneath you. Held by gravity, by the earth, by the universe. Safe. Completely safe. Your breath. Slow. So slow. In, out. In, out. Like the expansion and contraction of the universe. Breathing with you. Your thoughts, distant now, fading, like stars disappearing over the horizon, drifting away into the void, into the silence. And you don't need to hold on to them. Let them go. Let them drift, like rogue planets, like orphaned stars, like comets on long journeys, just drifting away into the darkness, into the quiet, into the peace. You are the void, vast, spacious, empty, and in that emptiness, there is everything, every possibility, every peace, every rest. You don't need to do anything, don't need to be anything, just exist. In the silence, in the darkness, in the void, drifting, gently, softly, peacefully, through space, through time, through sleep. The universe is drifting too. Galaxies, stars, planets, atoms, all drifting, together, in the great cosmic dance. And you're part of that dance. Part of the drift, part of the silence, not separate, never separate, one with everything, one with the void, drifting, forever, peacefully, into sleep, into dreams, into the beautiful, silent darkness. Thank you for this journey, for drifting with me through the cosmic silence. Tomorrow you'll wake, and the world will be noisy again. Busy, chaotic, but you'll remember the silence, the void, the peace, and you can return to it anytime, anywhere. Just close your eyes, breathe, and drift. The void is always there, waiting, open, welcoming, your home, your refuge, your peace, in the silence, in the emptiness, in the space between stars. Good night, cosmic traveler. You are made of stardust. You are made of emptiness. You are made of silence. And you are beautiful. Sleep now. Drift. Into the void. Into the peace. Into the eternal, silent darkness. Where all things rest. Where all things return. Where all things are home. Good night. Sleep well. The void embraces you. The silence holds you. The cosmos drifts with you. Forever. Peacefully. Good night.